And stay in your houses. Drive the rats in the tank area.
Yes, I never get sick of that song. Never. Absolutely. Gotta love the Doomsday Rejects. They got a new album coming out this year.
Oh,
and
shit.
we lost Hoofed Beast within 2.5 seconds. It's a record, people. Fist bump. Thank you all for tuning in tonight as we are going to explore our top 5 picks of Black Sabbath. And we're going to preface this by telling you that this is not just closed to the Ozzy era. So get ready for our picks on this, as I'm sure it's probably going to differ since we're kind of ranking them. At least I know I did. I did my homework. Thank you. Can I get an apple now? Or is that a ball gag? Anyway, so that is what we're doing. And before we do that, let's take a quick commercial break and check out the bands of Reaper's Underground Productions right now.
Und so tastet sich blind von Zeitenufer zu Zeitenufer, bis ihm in all dieser Schwärze endlich ein wegweisendes Licht aufgeht.
I wonder
That's right, y'all. Hit me up at any time on any of the Reapers Underground socials, Instagram and Facebook. We are slowly taking over the world, as it has been a very exciting month this month. So many of the bands on the roster have new albums coming out. Grave Next Door just released their vinyl, and it's fucking gorgeous.
Nice.
If you buy now, you'll get a nice little grab bag that comes along with it with lots of cool shit. As well as Hoofed Beast and I are diligently working on the new record, and it's going to be the great abomination that you all want it to be. So, as well as a lot of other stuff. October Noir is doing all kinds of good stuff right now. Just got some serious interviews that have just come out, some upcoming performances, as well as being in Morgue Rot magazine with yours truly, the Devil Daddy. So, lots of good stuff. Check it out. If you're a band or know a band that needs some management, check me out. All right. Let's get to it, fellas.
All right. Well, now I'm slightly rethinking the order of my list, but too late now. I'm going with it.
All right, Kyler, you better be getting Hoofed Beast's new record. I'm telling you right now, I'm coming to get you.
Absolutely.
He says he wants to buy all the stuff coming out.
You better, Kyler, or you'll be haunted.
Or Danzig floppers are going to haunt your dreams for it.
I don't know that they're even big enough to flop. I think they're flippers.
Yeah, it's like those little sticky hands that you have a little jelly string and you just slap it. That's Danzig tit.
Yes.
I love it. Kyler says, "You bet your ass I will buy it." All right. Awesome.
All right. So maybe call me crazy because this is usually the top of most people's Sabbath lists. But at number 5.
Are we starting at 5 or?
I'm starting at 5.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thought so. Okay. Good.
Number 5, I put Paranoid. What?
Really?
Hey.
Yes,
that
really.
should be in like the top 3. Just saying.
Well, I mean, it's a good album. It's a good album, but I feel like if anyone talks about Sabbath, that's the only album they ever go to.
You would be amazed at that. Masters of Reality and Volume 4 are far more talked about than even the first record. But that's fine. No, I'm good with that. That's cool. I'm just glad it's on your list because let's face it, Paranoid has cranked out some of the most classic songs.
Exactly. We got Iron Man, War Pigs, and Paranoid.
And Electric Funeral, Planet Caravan.
Yep.
To be honest, the whole fucking record is just
oh yeah, for sure,
all the way around. Number 5 for me, and it was kind of funny because we were just talking about this early on. Because we're doing all of the Sabbath era, I have to, like I said, I really was a big fan of the Headless Cross. And it was the first time that Tony Martin had taken over vocals after all those other puss fucking dickless wonders couldn't seem to sing their fucking asshole out of a ground hole. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. They were so horrible. Ian Gillian. Anyway, so Glenn Hughes. And they finally got some commercial success after like 10 fucking years. Or actually not quite 10 years. It was about 7 years later after the Dio era. So that is my number 5.
Well, we are going straight to the Dio era. For me, my number 5 is Heaven and Hell. I really like this album a lot. The only place that I think it slips slightly is Lady Evil and Wishing Well. Don't care for those quite much. They're a little bit more rock and roll.
Mhm.
Man, Neon Nights, Children of the Sea, Heaven and Hell. Holy crap. And those other two songs are really good songs that Lady Evil.
Die Young.
It's still a good song, but I don't know that I would. I like some of the other Dio stuff a little better, but
For sure.
Damn good. And what I felt like for me, when Sabbath hit Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and on, I could tell the drugs were driving the train.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Technical Ecstasy. I mean, Sabotage, big time. I mean, it's not terrible albums. I'm just saying the metal and the darkness was not
Gotcha.
It very creative, good albums, but and I felt like when Heaven and Hell came back out, it was like they kicked out two drug lords and they were like, we're fucking back. I mean, what a much better produced album, and it's fucking metal.
Oh no, Bill Ward was still, he played on that record. He did the tour also.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He even said in an interview, he literally does not have any recollection of recording that record.
My gosh. I thought that was
could you imagine?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I thought,
you know what I mean?
I think
it's a great fucking record, but it doesn't remember playing it.
Man, I believe it.
For sure. Technical Ecstasy is something we will never discuss ever again in my presence, as it was the biggest flop wannabe fucking what's that fucking band? Hotel California. They were trying to be them.
Yeah.
In that record. It shows.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, Iommi even said that when they did that record, all those corporate 70s, style fucking bands, Journey and some of the other ones. Not saying that they're bad bands. The thing is, you don't copy it because you feel like you gotta keep up with them. Fuck that bullshit. Yeah. Sabbath was Sabbath long before those fucking assholes fell out of some poor bitch's twat. I was trying to keep a straight face. I can't do it. But seriously, that album, Rock and Roll Doctor, Dirty Women. I'm not even going to talk about that. Man, when I watched the broadcast from last week's Side Note, you guys started talking about that front cover. Oh, man, I was cursing it up and down, fucking laughing. I'm like, you just need to give it the biggest shame ever, because literally it looks like a robot pissing on the top of a city, which suffice it to say, Ozzy did a couple of times in his solo career, so I guess it fits.
Like I think people who hear the first 3 Sabbath albums and then hear that thing are going to be like, what the hell happened?
They just need to stop printing it. Don't reprint it. You notice that was the only record that did not get a remaster.
Was it really? That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my number 4 was actually Heaven and Hell.
Good choice.
Oh, okay. Now, why did you choose that for your number 4?
I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
But there's others I enjoyed more than that one, so yeah.
Well, I'm just always curious, like when we rank things, was it because, yes, you loved it, you had to mention it, but just didn't quite stand up, further in the list or whatever. So that's why I thought I would ask that.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. Obviously, Dio kicks ass. Fucking love him. But, there are just other albums I enjoyed more.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Number 4 for me is going to be, and a lot of Sabbath purists are probably going to take a shit on my chest, Cleveland Steamer style.
Uh-oh.
But it is the album Volume 4. For me, it is not only just a sick fucking album. I mean, it's fantastic, but it lacked the heavy. You could kind of tell that they were heading down this road of starting to be more like on the hippie rock. I mean, don't get me wrong, you got Snowblind, which was just a sick fucking song. And St. Vitus Dance, and the very last track, and Supernaut. But it still had elements of more just. To me, that was the least doomy album of the whole catalog. But I had to put it on there because it does have some classics on there that are very good. Just doesn't stand up with some of their other efforts.
Well, good choice. That was my number 7. Volume 4. So good. I agree with everything you said. Is exactly what I thought. I listened to nearly every one of the. I listened to all of the Ozzy albums, and all of the Dio albums this week, and then I just kind of just tiptoed through some of the other albums. Which I just don't like the other ones.
All right. Carlos says, "Hear me out. I did not like the drums and guitars on some of the songs in Volume 4."
I can agree with you there. It's like you have this badass riff going on, and then suddenly it becomes clean chugging style that just doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
Iommi kind of lost a little bit of his riff mastery on that record, I feel. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a little too commercial. We like our Sabbath gritty.
And speaking of gritty, we're going to stay with the Ronnie James Dio era. The Mob Rules. I fucking love this album. I love it better than Heaven and Hell. I even like the song Country Girl. I mean, Ronnie James Dio can sing arguably, I'd put him up there with anybody. To me, more angst in his vocals than Rob Halford. Doesn't quite the high range, but one hell of a range. Just love Dio. I never knew I loved Dio this much until I went back through this and listened really to the music and how Ronnie James Dio's vocals fit in there, the level of aggression and how it fit with every fucking song. These songs are so rich. They're much more complicated than any of the earlier Sabbath albums. And just because it's complicated doesn't mean it's better. They might, because the earlier Sabbath is, yeah, thanks, Kyle. They're slower, but they're hitting that doom. And I love the slow just as well, as you will see. But I have to give major props to Ronnie James Dio and how the band just seemed to be like way more focused, and maybe the new wave of British heavy metal also helped focus them, with Maiden coming out and several others coming out. Yeah, Priest improved so fucking much. Like I would say 1974 on, Priest was a big handful, fucking metal, totally all the way. But the Mob Rules, Turn Up the Night, Voodoo, Sign of the Southern Cross. There isn't a weak song on this album at all. And anybody who hasn't given it a good try, and there are a lot of reviewers who have taken Mob Rules over Heaven and Hell like I did.
I think I'm going to have to give that record another listen. Because I think when I heard the title track, The Mob Rules, I just didn't like it. Which kind of deterred me from going through the rest of the tracks. So I'll have to go back and give that an honest listen.
John, what's up?
What's happening, John? Always a pleasure. But that's cool. Most F.
Yeah. I would like Dio so much. Go figure.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
I just think, I don't know, for me, Dio is just better on his own.
It's really
in a lot of ways until a couple of albums that happen in the next 25 years, which I'll get to pretty soon. But we probably should take a quick commercial break. What do we want to do here? Actually, let's do Villain Arts if we got it.
Sure.
Because Reaper and Mischief are coming to Chicago. Who's ready?
Woo!
Man, I'll tell you, this last convention here in Omaha, when I say they have by far some of the best sideshow acts for all my oddities people out there, Captain and Maybell fucking just tore the roof off. They had a really cool dude. His name's James. I can't remember his last name, so sorry, James. But he was from Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, and one of the most sought after acts from that kind of thing. It's not just a tattoo convention. Literally, you can see some of the best performers ever. And if you're a fan of suspension, we have that also. So myself and Mischief will be there in Chicago in March. So
will that be suspension?
What's that?
In suspension?
Mischief wants to do it. My skin won't hold up to the task. You know, I got a little bit of a weight. I mean, I did see a heftier guy do it, and it scared the shit out of me. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm gonna witness this guy just falling from the sky. But you know, I don't know. I would have to be pretty fucking drunk. It's one thing to watch. It's another one to get the hooks in you. Be like a fish. More power to those that like to do it. I just like to get tattoos. That's my sadism favorite thing, obviously. All right. So we are on, I believe, number 3.
We are, and number 3, I put Master of Reality.
Okay. It made it to the top 3. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite tracks off of that? And what do you like about it overall?
I really liked Children of the Grave. I thought it was really creepy, and just the way that it like went into like this real pretty piece orchid. And really like Solitude.
Solitude, man. I'll tell you, that song got me through middle school. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, man, Children of the Grave was anthem. It was the sign of the times. It was about the youth that was coming up during the Vietnam War. So, I mean, everyone fucking, just really took to it. It's fucking driving. And I got to say, White Zombie, not Rob Zombie. White Zombie did a phenomenal cover of that fucking song.
He did?
We'll probably talk
I
about
didn't
that
know
later.
that.
Yeah, there was a today's metal bands doing Sabbath covers for a compilation called
Ooh.
Nativity in Black.
Yep.
Oh, what a fucking good album.
Really good.
Yeah, I can get down with that record.
I think I would have
every day.
I wish they would have put Anthrax's Sabbath Bloody Sabbath on instead of Bruce Dickinson, because I just like that one better on that album.
You know Bruce, man, he had to go on there and be all fucking cock rocky and like, I can sing this better than Ozzy can. Tell me that's not the reason he did that. Come on. Because as far as I know, he doesn't even like Ozzy.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's Sharon.
I know something happened. I just don't remember.
Something most definitely happened. It had to do with Ozfest when Iron Maiden was one of the featured acts. A little bit of bad blood. But yeah, I would have much rather have heard Anthrax do Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, for sure.
Right.
Braden, what is up, brother? Haven't seen you in a minute. Thanks for joining. Number 3 for Reaper is simply put as the single best Ronnie James Dio album with them ever. I'm talking about 10 fucking tracks that, in my opinion, was right up there with fucking Pantera and everybody else. They had Geezer, Tony, and my dude Vinny Appice on the drums. Dehumanizer. If you don't have this disc in your fucking CD library, people, get it the fuck now. I still rock out to this record to this day. And it absolutely, in a lot of ways, blows away half of the original Sabbath catalog. It is that good. Tony's riffs are amazeballs. Dio left his heart on that, heart and soul for that matter, on that record. It's like, damn, just think if they would have done that in like 1983, there would have never been a different singer.
No.
It just fucking rocks, man. Had to put it on there.
Brother Reaper, I agree with you. My number 3 is also Dehumanizer. Like
fantastic.
When you listen to all, I mean, this is the second resurrection of Black Sabbath when they came and then they went to shit, because the following album was absolute shit. I couldn't believe how bad it was. Once again, it sounded like the band got in the studio and they were fucking serious. Those riffs are fucking amazing. Every fucking song, there is no weak song. They're gritty. This album is like, I knew this was going to make my top 5. I didn't know it was going to make the top 3. But I spent a lot of time this week listening to every Sabbath album. Every night I did it. This is my number 3. And I have a really hard time choosing between Mob Rules and this one. Mob Rules to me is really close as far as
I gotta listen to that again.
The drumming, Geezer's bass lines, shit, like Geezer shows out in this album and in Mob Rules a lot too. Like really
it's like Tony Iommi got his groove back in such a way that it would take 6 hands to hold his balls on these riffs. It's just chugga-rific, and he does a lot of wall work on there too that is just so fucking tasty.
Yes.
You know, and what I love about that record is how they're making fun of technology that was just starting to come out, you know, the old AOL dial-up internet, you know, and obviously TV, because at that point TV was literally taking over the culture at that time.
Yeah.
So it's like Ronnie's like, really, bitches? I'm going to tell you about yourself, and smacked you in the fucking throat.
Exactly.
I'm
Loved it.
Reaper. Everybody who doesn't have that fucking album,
They got to get it. They're missing the boat.
to me, and back to the point about like maybe suggesting that these aren't as good as, you know, Dio on his own. They're different because Ronnie James Dio never had a Tony Iommi with him for their albums. Tony was on fucking steroids every album with Ronnie James Dio.
Totally. I think he brought the best out of him.
Yeah, they're so rich. I think Ronnie James Dio's intensity and his professionalism and his dynamic ability, it inspired Tony. Like, trust me, I love Ozzy. I love most of the Ozzy albums.
Right.
But
everybody does.
These three are fucking amazing. I never revisited them like I have. I mean, I've been listening to so much extreme metal lately that I don't get to these as often as I should.
Well, also for, you know, some serious Dio fans out there, shortly before the unfortunate passing of Ronnie James Dio, they reincarnated Sabbath and got rid of the Sabbath name and were known as Heaven and Hell. And when I tell you that album will bring you to fucking tears and make you want to kill the person next to you at the same time, I'm not joking. If he could have kept going, they were on the fast track to being one of the heaviest fucking incarnations at that time. Fuck all the other subgenres. I mean, they had it, man. And they sold out fucking stadiums at that time. I shit you not. It was that fucking good. And just like we talked about, something about how Dio brings out the fucking heavy. Because I've heard in multiple interviews that Tony Iommi literally has 50 fucking metal riffs on old fucking recordings that he's never used. And I swear, Dio probably walked in there and goes, man, I got a badass idea for lyrics and let me show it to you. And I was, I'll go back into my catalog and pull out the heaviest fucking thing I can. And let's face it, man, that fucking record, that's another one that y'all got to get. Heaven and Hell, not known as Black Sabbath, but it was Geezer, Tony, Dio, and Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Yep. I was lucky enough to see, I've said this on our shows a couple of times, I was lucky enough to see Black Sabbath with our tantalizing titty master for them on the Dehumanizer tour.
I'm still so fucking jealous at that. Not the
tantalizing titty master.
I wanted to see a sizzling very unhappy nipple. But I do know his voice was very good at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
Cheers to the tit.
Danzig was amazing. Danzig was still heavy into his steroid use and bodybuilding. He was amazing for that show. But the first song, which was the song, it's off of Dehumanizer. I can't think of which one right now. To where it opened.
Was it TV Crimes?
With just Vinny on the drums.
Oh, it's the opening track.
Yeah. You're right.
Computer God.
Yeah, Computer God. That's what they opened up with. I remember that.
I would have died.
The lights.
Do you know how many times in high school that was in my playlist to practice for the day? Oh, the ending of that song when they go into the fast part at the end.
Yeah.
And Dio's just wailing on his, like, holding out the word God.
Yeah.
It just makes you cream yourself. And if you don't, something's fucking wrong with you.
And, you know, Vinny's drum kit is always so earthy. So,
Oh, he was really big into the big toms.
Yeah, I love that.
Them things were like fucking trash cans. Loved it. Except for the red oil-filled heads. I just can't get with that. But he liked it. John, who pissed on the carpet?
I have no idea.
I have no idea where that came from. No, I don't. I do not, sir. I got my Reaper Depends on tonight. I'm just bullshitting.
Oh my goodness.
So Reaper, I think the big question is, what are we going to do with Gangis if Gangis doesn't have Dehumanizer in his top 3?
I do. It's my number 2.
Fuck yes.
Woo, woo, woo,
Fuck
woo.
you. All right, Gangis, tell us why you chose that one.
I don't know. I liked it. It was better than some of their other ones. And
That's me yeeting myself out of the room.
I remember my first drawing course in university. Before we had these big critiques, and I didn't think the critiques were brutal.
Mhm.
We were pretty fair with everybody. But the first thing that my professor said is, you're not allowed to say I like it. Reasons why. You have to, bring in which song was the strongest, or what about it? What about the flavor, the character of the album did you really like?
I almost think that he just kind of succumbed to the power of the riff compels you.
that is very true. And also, that was one of the first ones I listened to over the course of the week, and they all kind of started to blend together after a while. So I really don't remember why I liked it so much, but I know I did.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
That's all we need to hear, because
Okay.
you know that fucking album is really good.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I thought I had it on vibrate. I suck. Let me do that. Okay, there we go. Never again. Yeah, like I said, the passion. Tracks like
Yes.
it's like starts off with this bluesy intro.
Mhm.
Wanna dun dun, burn dun dun. I'm like, oh Tony, where have you been all my life? And then Dio starts humming it.
So fucking good.
Whap! Oh my God, I about fucking fell on the floor the first time I heard that. I cranked that shit up so hard my fucking mom was pissed. I'm like, you don't understand. This shit is kicking my ass right now. Are we suddenly on a game show? But yeah, man, still my favorite track off that album. I mean, the whole album as a whole is fantastic. Every track a banger. But that one, man, just something special about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real doomy too.
It is.
Real doomy.
So much doom in there. And it's very bluesy at the same time. Like you can really kind of hear some. The only way I can describe it, when Iommi goes bluesy, it sounds like Eric Clapton sold his soul to the devil, and that's what came out. That's like his version of blues. You know what I'm saying? For me, though, my number 2 is, in fact, the album Paranoid. The reason I say that is because those songs, it's like every album since the first one, they just kept getting better and better. And in my opinion, almost one of the top doom albums: Electric Funeral, Rat Salad, War Pigs. There's just Fairies Wear Boots. It was jazzy, it was bluesy, and it was full of doom and gloom. There wasn't a single happy fucking song. I mean, they're talking about anything from Satan to the destruction of the world to, anti-hero, and it had everything a doom fucking record's supposed to have. And they did it unapologetically and to the fucking max. That was the record that got them noticed in America.
An amazing, amazing record. And I will tell you right now, Reaper, you and I, our top 3 are the fucking same. Because my number 2 also is Paranoid. And
minus the drug-infused superhero on the front cover.
yeah, this thing, like when I had heard Paranoid and I'd heard War Pigs and of course Iron Man before, but I'd never seen this album. I remember when I first saw this album, I was like, that's Black Sabbath, the band that made Iron Man?
Which, as I understand it, that is supposed to be Iron Man on the front cover. But I've had this argument with my buddies since I was in grade school.
Mm-hmm.
Which Sabbath member is that? And why do they look like a 70s porn actor? Tell me that doesn't look like, what's his name? The guy who made the porn stash famous. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what the fuck were we thinking? It's like he went to one of the most demented circus discos in Europe and stepped right onto that front cover.
I think it was the beginning of their journey with LSD.
I believe so. I really do.
Yeah. When I went,
although the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath cover by far was probably one of their best front covers ever, next to the first record.
That album, that is an excellent album cover. And another just throughout all the albums is they almost always change the logo. Like, what is the official Black Sabbath logo?
Believe it or not, it is the Sabotage version of the logo. It's slanty.
Yeah.
Because you even see that very same logo on the double disc We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll.
Yep. That would be my answer as well. But still, they were so different. Everyone, I really like the Dehumanizer logo. That one was
pretty... that was sick as fuck.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the album art. Holy shit balls.
Yeah.
It's like this robotic Reaper.
Yeah.
It's got all the, kind of looks like a skeleton, but he's not. He's all like machine, Terminator style.
Yeah. Like I listened to this album and Reaper and I's number 1 together at the same night. I went through them all. And when I finished Paranoid, I was like, man, that's probably going to be my number 1, when the one that I did choose number 1 has always been my number 1. And
for sure.
And so then as I was going to bed, I put it on Spotify and listened to the last one, the whole fucking album. And,
isn't it fucking funny though to see which are their biggest hits on the top 5 on there?
Yeah,
it's really weird because it seems to flop all the time. It like keeps coming back, and I'm like, why did you guys miss all the other songs that were better?
Yeah.
Fairies Wear Boots should be there. Fucking Electric Funeral should be there.
Good. Ballad is damn good as well. That's a tricky one too.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like Iron Man's number 1, War Pigs, and then
Reaper, don't you know a little bit about Hand of Doom?
Yes, I do. I fucking made one of the best remakes of that song ever.
Yes, you did.
I'm claiming that. I don't care. I may not be in the band, but I'm claiming that.
Hell yeah.
It was actually my idea. True
that
story.
doesn't surprise me at all.
True story. The first record company that BTS dealt with was Fuzzy Cracklins over at the Swamp Records.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhoozle, he gets this great idea to get his top bands to do an all Black Sabbath tribute album. And of course, I was like, oh my God, let me do that. So naturally, Hand of Doom was like no-brainer. I didn't want to do anything that was commercially shoved down everyone's throat as Sabbath's best. Hand of Doom, man. Oh, if you go on YouTube, people out there in Three Witches Land, check out Black Sabbath live in Paris. It was the only legit recorded film of them playing live when they were still dirt fucking poor. And it was the best performance ever. Ozzy's fucking hilarious. He comes out in this like jean outfit. It looked like he's been wearing them for like 3 months in a row. And no shirt and a fucking jean jacket. His hair's a fucking mess. But man, when they played, it was just magic. Hand of Doom. And I was like, I went back and I rewatched that live performance. And I said, we can do it, and we can do it fucking better. For real. I mean, you'll never be as good as the original, but I felt with justice. So if you want to check it out, go to Black Tar Superstar on Spotify. You'll find it there. It's the only Spotify that has our original EP on it, too.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
All right. Do we want to run in some other commercial before we do our number ones?
I think we should.
Okay.
Do we still have the Iron Serpent little bit?
The one that I'm working on, the little
Correctamundo.
Yes, we do.
Seeing as we have our first debut single, Aramon, coming out February 3rd. Check it out. That's right. February 3rd, people. You can pre-save it right now on Spotify. Check the Iron Serpent and Reaper's Underground posts where you can click that link, pre-save it. It's RAR, which is definitely something that we really wanted to do. It's very Sabbathy, but I think also holds up to Down's first record. because it's a lot more intense. This is not BTS, people. It is not Black Tar.
No.
It could have been, but these are the lost tracks. So hopefully y'all will enjoy it. All right. What number are we at? I think we're at number one.
And
No.
my number one is their first album.
Tell us why, though.
Okay. Okay.
Bong hit later.
it was the first Sabbath album I ever listened to. And so, I've got like some nostalgia stuff about it, but I also really enjoyed some of the songs, like Call Me Crazy, but I think Sleeping Village is like one of the best songs ever.
Oh, it was probably by far one of their best jams.
Absolutely. And I also really liked...
I think that track actually was 3 songs. It had like 3 different titles.
I know.
You guys just didn't know what you were doing, did you?
No, they didn't. But, I feel like not knowing what you're doing kind of is a thing in metal in some ways. Some of those bands just don't know if they've got 1 song or if it's 5 songs or what they're doing or how many tempo changes they can fit in a song. And
I think they were trying so hard to prove to everybody that they were a blues band that they just kind of like tried to throw every bit of their arsenal on that record just to like try to be like almost legitimized. But I think at the same time didn't realize what they were about to create.
Yeah.
I think
they didn't know.
I think that song has 3 different names to it because Bill had passed out somewhere when they voted on it and none of them would come off their vote. And they're like, okay.
That's probably right.
I don't think Gangis was even thought of when that record came out.
No. My mother was an infant, so nope, she wasn't even born yet. So
that album is just outstanding, and just the title track. That's, if I had to choose, probably my favorite Sabbath song. I don't know how that beats out War Pigs and Children of the Grave, but I think it has to. That's the first Sabbath album I ever bought. I had heard Paranoid and Pigs and Iron Man before, but the first Sabbath album I bought was the first one. And I remember playing that for the first time with the rain, the thunder, and then the doom. Oh,
I actually did an homage to that on Araman.
Great. and those
you guys will see it.
I did have the privilege of hearing that song, and you guys
got to.
It's really, really good. It's fucking heavy too.
There's 2 songs that really stick out to me on that record. The Wizard.
Yep.
And IB.
Yep.
Which most people didn't know stood for Nativity in Black. And those 2 songs, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the first one.
Right.
The title track. And let's face it, the rest of the record is really good too. Ozzy didn't find himself yet.
That is very true.
It's almost like he held back. And it didn't help where and how they recorded it. It really wasn't until Sabbath themselves took over the producing part. Once they did that, everything sounded so much fucking better. That first record was recorded, all 4 of them at the same time. It's like they just threw a microphone in the middle of the fucking rehearsal room and said, go.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's how they did it on a reel-to-reel.
Hey, Jesus intervened on you when you said what NIB stands for, and there was a glitch like a. So you might want to tell everybody and see if Jesus catches you this time.
Can't catch me, you long-haired hippie. Go spread your love somewhere else. It doesn't live here.
I'm the devil. I'm here to do the devil's work.
Right. The power of Sabbath compels you.
All right. It might be about time for Reaper to unveil our number one.
3 words. Master of reality. By far their finest, doomiest record, heaviest record in the Ozzy era. Plain and fucking simple. Tony Iommi was out to literally melt faces with this record. Every song a bona fide hit, heavy, and Ozzy sang like his life depended on it.
Yes, he did.
Seriously, he really did. I think he finally found, like, him and Tony really clicked on that record. Not that it didn't on Paranoid, but the fact that this record coming right after that, they upped the bar so much. I don't even think they realized it, but they really did. Which is why Volume 4 was a bit of a little bit of a letdown, because I was thinking they were just going to keep going up.
Fuck yeah.
That's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Master of Reality, for me, Into the Void.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Changed my outlook on heavy music for the next 20 years. And I've never heard anything really hold up to that. Especially in the doomer, sludge kind of, that particular box that we put metal in sometimes. It set the standard. And I don't think anyone's ever crossed it. Not with that song. I mean, there's so many good songs. Sweet Leaf, come on.
Yes.
Who didn't get fucking ripped to that song? Children were conceived to that song. That's how we got Gangis. Anyway. All right. But for real, though, I mean, there's not a song on that fucking record that didn't speak to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like I said, Solitude, that was the song you listened to when you broke up with someone.
Yeah.
I know I did. Multiple times. Man, I'm trying to think of some of the other standouts.
Orchid is really, really.
Oh,
Yes.
How about Tony's fucking Russian little solo he did that leads into Children of the Grave?
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a name for it. It's escaping me right now.
My mother just texted me, and in response to your comment about that's how we got Gangis, she's like, "Oh, hell to them now." My mother does not particularly like Sabbath.
When Ton Satan takes a holiday, which is a great record if you love the organ. Anyway, I know I was just bullshitting anyway, but seriously though, After Forever, that's the song, man. And I'll tell you who did a badass cover of that on that Nativity in Black compilation.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Suicidal Tendencies knocked that shit out of the park. I was not expecting that from them. And it was good. It was scary good. The bass was thumping. Drums were on point. I knew that some bitch had more fucking talent than he did on their previous records. And I mean, Embroyo, that was really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it embryo? Embryo? I always used to call it embryo, but then again, I'm a little dyslexic, so I fucked it up a little bit. I don't know, that record right there.
To me, Paranoid is almost neck and neck with this album. But what I took, okay, what do I think are the 4 best songs off of Paranoid? War Pigs, yes, I would say Iron Man, Paranoid, and Fairies Wear Boots. Those are my top 4. And then I looked at this, definitely Into the Void, Lord of This World.
Oh my God, how could I forget that one?
After Forever, and then Children of the Grave. And so now, to me, Paranoid's 4 best songs are more iconic. Not Fairies Wear Boots. I totally agree with you, Reaper, that Fairies Wear Boots is probably the most underrated Sabbath song that more people need to get into. The groove
is so goddamn good.
It's so fucking good.
Bill was playing so good on that too. He threw some jazz licks in there. It was like the first time somebody had ever done that type of thing in that kind of fuzzy doom.
Yeah. Like to me, from what made me choose Master Reality over Paranoid was it's just heavier. And it is more of the quintessential metal. And Sweet Leaf is the weakest song, but it really does communicate to me.
It's fun though.
Yes, it's a lot of fun, and people definitely identify with that song. It's a lot of It's the most simple out of all of the songs, and it's a playful song.
And Geezer tears it the fuck up. I like to call that Geezer's song because yes, Iommi's riff is great, but Geezer's laying it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So fuzzy good. And that's kind of the difference, I think, for me, as far as how they're neck and neck. It's like if I want the ultimate Orange Crush fuzz,
yes,
I'm going to listen to Paranoid. If I want to hear bone-crunching, chugga-chugga riffage galore, Master of Reality.
Yeah, I agree. It was neck and neck. That was my hardest choice, was that. And
it's tough.
So I'm not only on the Ronnie James Dio bandwagon, but I really do love those 3 albums. That's why all 3 of those albums made the top 5 for me. But those 2, and my biggest surprise out of my choices was that I didn't put the first self-titled album in the top 5. But when I listened to them, I would say all 3 of the Dio era are songs. They're more intense. They're more nasty metal. However, they're not as groovy and they're not as doomy. And I just love Paranoid. And number 1 is Master of Reality.
Same.
So groovy, so fucking heavy. And coming out of, what was Master Reality? I think 1972. Paranoid was late 1970 or
it was late 1970. The strangest thing ever. They released 2 fucking albums in 1 year.
Yeah.
The self-titled and then Paranoid all in 1 year. That by today's standards is unfucking heard of. And you know what that's called? Hard work.
Yeah.
For all you bands out there, get to know it.
And Iron Maiden did that from album 1 all the way up through Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, album after album, and they toured their asses off too.
I mean, when you talk about lifers and the bands that they just don't stop, they don't quit, true entertainers, those bands, Priest, even AC/DC, let's throw them in there too. Let's be real. They did that shit. They weren't, fucking Aerosmith that just, And whenever they decided to put an album out, then they would do a tour just because they would say, ha, they paid us enough. Let's go give you something.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? These bands legit connected with their fans on such an intimate level. And, you know, I mean, that's something that I've always strived for. I know, you know, Hoof Beast, you definitely, you know, do that too. So it's like these young cats coming up, you better, you want a following, all you bitchers and complainers out there, connect with your fans.
Exactly.
Damn. Seriously. That's what's wrong with today's youth. It really is. They want all the notoriety. They want to be put out there. They want labels to literally do everything for them so they don't have to. Now, then again, don't get me wrong. There's some bands out there, they do try.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But as a whole, though, it's kind of like, nah, you should be doing that shit on your own. You should be doing small, intimate shows where your fucking fans are right here in your face. They should be able to feel the spit coming off of the microphone. Seriously.
All 23 of them.
Oh, don't even get me started on venues, man. That's one of the things that you and me should have been fucking musicians back in the 70s. It didn't take nothing to play in front of 100,000 people.
Yeah.
All you had to say was, there's going to be 2 fucking heavy bands, and people would just come out. They want to see it live.
Before MTV, I've seen a documentary that talked about this, and I think it was either a Napalm Death documentary or it was an Iron Maiden documentary. They talked about that, and then I know that Led Zeppelin has spoken about this as well. Before MTV, music had a mystical kind of element because you couldn't see the band.
You couldn't see it. Yeah.
You could see them in a magazine there. You didn't see videos of them playing 25 times a day on MTV. There was a distance, and so people came out. People respected it in a much different way. To me, people are into music in a much more superficial way. Plus, they're flooded with...
Agreed. I mean, let's face it. You want to see one of your new favorite bands playing live, go on YouTube. Some motherfucker caught an unauthorized recording of the whole goddamn thing.
Yep.
And you can sit there and watch it. I am all about the art of the music video. And that's one thing Sabbath was fucking amazing at. They didn't do a lot of videos, but when they did, it really captured the song. I'll never forget seeing them play Iron Man at this English pub called The Beat Club. And it was just like this weird little stage, but they had a backdrop screen in the back where they would just show crazy fucking like psychedelic heads back and forth. Man, when I saw that shit, I said, I want to do that. Seriously. Shit, even the title track of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, that video was fucking sick. They were outside some English castle. Ozzy was running around with a sword, ? But it was great. And one of the best parts about it is obviously they had gotten a little too high, I think, off the devil's hashish. And Ozzy fell out of sync with the vocals because he was sitting there, you know, miming it. Fucked it up. It was awesome. But, you know, once we got into the 80s, fucked everything up.
What was the name of that wrestling duo that came out with Iron Man? Was it the Road Warrior?
That's the one.
Yeah, that was
Fucking animal.
I love that.
Badass.
Yeah, like 1983, I remember catching that, and they always came out with Iron Man, and they fucking walked that walk.
Oh, the fuck yeah, they did. Hawk was a fucking beast.
Yes.
Oh, what a rush. As soon as you heard that shit, somebody was getting killed.
I
And yes, John, sadly, may they rest in peace.
yeah. I couldn't believe that they weren't the
Don't
champ
use steroids, kids.
like in 1984, 1985. I think they may have eventually gotten the championship,
They did. NWA.
but they were freaking monsters.
Huge.
It's true though. Don't do steroids. You could look like this.
Mm.
Suddenly you deflate. Tell me I'm wrong. Glenn looks like his chest deflated.
Yes, absolutely.
Although you want to know something scary, a recent photo has surfaced because Danzig has yet again, you're going to love this hoof beast, sold out performance for next month. Danzig sings Elvis.
Fuck that.
Sold out.
Fuck
I
that.
saw
And
that.
the
I'm like,
photo shows
why?
him. His arms are ripped. His thighs are ripped. I'm thinking he's gotten a little high on male hormone. What do you think?
Probably.
There's no reason at 65 he should be looking like this.
No.
Same thing with Sylvester Stallone. Side note.
Mm.
The man's 75 and looks like he's 55.
Yeah.
Anywhoozle, that is our top 5 Sabbath. If you agree with us, let us know. Definitely appreciate you all out there in the comments section. You've given us a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you coming back every fucking time.
If you're on YouTube, go ahead and drop us who are your top 5s and why.
Absolutely. And some of you have told us actually, a little bit throughout, which is really cool. It's always been that thing. Certain songs have been just shoved out there, but there's much better tracks on some of these records, and you just don't know about it. So, wait, what? Oh my God. Yes. He was talking about the Road Warriors, I think. But
anyway.
Yeah, honestly, the Ozzy era pre-cocaine was the best ever.
Yep.
After the fact, it was really hit or miss. I do have one honorable mention from that era, and that is the Never Say Die album. It's one that a lot of people don't talk about, only because it was the last record and then they kicked him out.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally hell recording that record because they had an entire album of songs ready to go. Ozzy, unfortunately, his dad passed away during that time. He was really fucked up, took a leave of absence for a year, comes back. Here's what they got, tells them to scrap it. And then they rewrote the album. And honestly, it's not bad. There's a lot of really cool fucking tunes on there. So that's why that's my honorable mention.
All right.
Don't know if any of you guys do.
I see what you're saying. It's to me, it's not as good as the first album, and it's not as good as
no way.
not good as Volume 4. And I would say there's a couple songs off of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath that are really damn.
It was a hit or miss album.
Yeah.
Gangis?
I had to have Volume 4 as my number 6 just because I couldn't squeeze it into my number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Any particular song off that record you like the most?
No, I got lost.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's our picks, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We totally appreciate y'all. We got a lot of shows coming up. And as a matter of fact, on Tuesday, there's going to be a special edition of Reaper's Underground with Grave Next Door. We're going to be talking about their latest video for Witch Head and the fact of that vinyl package that I had alluded to at the beginning of the show tonight. Show the fuck up, ask all the questions you want to, and make sure you constantly share this shit out. But after a long day, it's been a Saturday. It's a Saturday night. And, you might have to take a shit. And then you're going to get ready for bed. You're putting your little metal footies on. The one thing to remember is before you eat your Metalos, stay heavy.
Driving in this wasteland, let the sun bleach the bone.